been so long since I've done one of these that I actually lost the image that goes on the cover photo. So, if you're wondering why it randomly changed, that's why. I was trying to make it all the same because it's, it goes by chapter. So I was trying to make, oh well. So there's been a lot of things, odd things going on lately, and really some of these things have been bottling up and just kind of brewing for 2 or 3 decades. I mean, it's been, I have memories from 4 or 5 where things that can be linked back to that specific time. I mean, it's ridiculous. And part of me is like, well, what about me? What about my childhood? What about all the times that the police were called, the police responded? For example, the time that I was buried alive, the time that I got sent to the hospital because they injected me with some kind of probably lethal anesthesia, something came up unidentified compound because they were looking for drugs instead. What were all the times like that where they just, there was somebody good in the mix, but there were too many of these neo-Nazi people purposefully trying to let them pass. What about the time where, all the times, every single birthday where they tried to poison me to the point where either I died or got immensely ill? I mean, what about every single morning when they put poison in my food, my water? What about, I mean, there's moments where I'm like, okay, I guess I wasn't important enough. I guess one life to you doesn't mean fuck. I guess the only thing that you're concerned about, are your stupid little missions. By the way, do you even care about the actual cause to the mission, or are you just doing it just to say you could? And by the way, you weren't looking hard at all. You weren't looking actually at all. I had to do magic because no one would believe me. All the stories, think about it, all the stories that I have ends up as being something that I should have died from that I survived. No one fucking believes me. Okay? So I had to do magic to actually expose them. That's what I had to resort to. I had to actually do a ritual to expose what they've done and what they're still doing and what they will do. And the fact that they are actually a part of this religious Abrahamic neo-Nazi cult. I mean, and honestly, I truthfully believe that had they not seen that they were part of that cult, I truly believe that, like I said, one life wouldn't be enough for them to investigate. So I guess, ironically, it works in my favor that they're part of this cult, because that's the only reason why the FBI is finally investigating my family. Now, they won't tell you, like, they won't, no one at all in that cult did ever admit it. But let me just tell you, just only a couple days after I did that ritual, this is what happened. Okay, things started not only arising for what they were doing, but things in the news. Okay, started linking things together and made me think, they know who these people are, and they know that my family are those people, or at least are some of those people. There's something on the news I saw, actually, this is something about the power lines. And I remember when I was very, very young, when I was 4 or 5, too young to be left alone, my father just dragged me with him to this meeting at this power facility. And I remember them talking about, if you hit the right ones, but we need at least a decade to figure that out. Well, fast forward 2 decades later, about, give or take, And that's when they start actually figuring out which power stations will cut off everything else. My mother used to work for a power company, and she actually has the knowledge. And she said to me, just, we're talking about it on the news, and she dumbly said to me, yeah, actually, certain stations, it doesn't matter the company, certain stations, if you find the right stations, you could black out the entire, or almost the entire country all at once, because they're all interconnected. That's what she said. I don't know if that's true, but that's what she said, and she used to work for an electrical company. So, this now comes to pass, I guess. Finally they found enough information to start putting the plans into action. When I was a wee little child, that was in Washington and not the city, the state. Okay? And now, I don't want to reveal the state I'm in now for my own safety, but it was the state I live in now, plus another state and Washington. And so the other state was right next to Washington. And they said that those 3 states are the ones that have been targeted the very most. And so, I thought, well, that 2 out of 3 states we lived in or are living in currently. And one of those states, in the Washington state, was where it all began in the beginning, where they had this plot in the beginning. Because I was clairvoyant, I kept thinking that those lines were going to explode, and I just kept going like this. But I had no fucking idea at all what they were talking about or what they meant. I just had an instinct, and I literally thought they were going to fall on me, immediately. And they didn't, obviously. They were just talking about stuff, but I was too young to know anything else. I just remember the words they said, and I don't think I remember it at all had I not been so afraid that something was going to fall on me and make a loud noise, or hurt me or something. So that's why I was going like that. And I think that's the only reason why I remember it, honestly. So it's things like that I've had decades before they actually got connected together. But I thought, is this a good thing? Because if they're predominantly happening in those states that I know my evil cult family is living in, then is it less widespread than I once thought? Is this actually all? Can you trace it? I mean, because I thought it was so prevalent that I thought they're everywhere. There's no way you could escape it, and they probably are everywhere to some extent. But I don't think they have control everywhere, and that makes me believe that maybe they also don't have full control of the FBI. They also don't have full control of certain local areas, and therefore cannot always cover things up. I think there's a reason why there's a link to, things happening in the places that they have lived. It always seems to be more shit happens in the places that they've lived. And so I almost think that even though this group could be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, I don't think that stretches globally out every country, maybe a couple million or something. I used to think it was like a billion, and maybe it is, but at least in this country, I think actually a lot of it's concentrated. And when anything's concentrated like that in one specific spot like that, and other spots it's not, people can find patterns. The FBI can find patterns. And I think that's what's been happening. They're saying that all this shit's not connected, but believe me, it is. I was there. At least I was there for part of it. I know. It's just, these are the same people. It's not like just a few people acting alone. It's a giant group of it. So anyway, they're gotten more bold, and they're still underground. They got a lot more bold, and every once in a while they send somebody to test the waters to come above ground, and I think that's added attention. But in past, I don't believe that you could draw a direct connection to my specific family, and now you can. Now finally, the FBI is actually investigating. How do I know this? Because not only do I have some clairvoyance around it, okay, and some visionary, but what my parents have been saying, you know, right around the time that all of this started happening, they had a meeting just a couple days after I did that ritual. They had this meeting with almost every single family member and every single friend I know to exist. They were like all there, and they just said, well, it's some kind of reunion thing, or well, and then they changed it later to say, oh, actually no, only a few people came. You know, it was very odd. And but I know for a fact that a lot of people came for those couple days. Now usually you can get in contact within 30 minutes of at least my father. Within those 2 days, he did not answer the phone at all, except once. Just once. And by the way, that was on his own terms. He didn't answer the phone, he called me. So that tells me that they were doing something really extensive. Okay. Then a couple days ago, fast forward about a week or so, a couple days ago, they were actually talking about, wow, like there's a bunch of police everywhere, like everywhere I look, like they're on the roads, they're like sitting there waiting for somebody, you know, and, you know, even I'd heard a few sirens and things, but, you know, it's just, I've not seen, I just went out and I've not seen what they're seeing, you know, so it makes me think that the police are following them, because I'd not seen all that gigantic presence of police, and they had. So, you know, I'm thinking to myself, okay, something is definitely going on. Fast forward 2-3 days later, randomly, out of nowhere, they say, we're going on vacation for about a month. A fucking month, yeah. We're going on vacation for a month. And they say they're going to the beach, but I know they're not. They're going to be hiding. They're going to go into hiding because they're fucking paranoid. That's what they're doing. They had this meeting, now they're going into hiding, and that's going to happen in 2 days. So if nobody catches them, and they probably won't because they're so slow. I'm sorry, FBI, you're fucking slow. But if it really pisses me off. If you weren't so slow, maybe I wouldn't have to suffer. Maybe I wouldn't have had to go through that much pain in my childhood. They are still just stopping my house. They are still fucking poisoning my house when I leave. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that, you know, they're probably not going to catch them yet. But at least they're under the radar. At least they know who they are. And at least they are actually fucking trying to catch them. Yeah, good job. After I went through fucking hell. I don't know why they didn't accept me as their child. I don't fucking know why, FBI. Because I was different. They saw they're fucking paranoid. Not just of race, not just of religion, but of fucking witches. Yes. People who are born with clairvoyance, I like to put it, or with some kind of magic. It was obvious enough that someone paranoid like my family saw it, took note of it. I have memories I should not have. Memories drinking from a bottle, thinking nothing of it, and then suddenly feeling the worst pain in my stomach in my life I've ever felt. Before I was able to actually speak full sentences. I couldn't even say any words at all. As an infant, basically. It's so bad I have memories. Memories of bath time. Father saying that he needed to wash my hair, so I needed to go under the water. When I couldn't breathe, I tried to fight to come up for the surface to breathe. He would keep me down until I passed out. I would wake up choking. Wake up under the water choking. That was my fucking childhood, FBI. You're fucking late. You better fucking catch them. Because I'm tired of this.